One of the focus of this particular meeting was to talk about the process because, as Lisette said, right now we got a lot of division in Dallas County around this Bolton John case. And so many people got misinformation. People have already decided what happened or what may not have happened. And when I say the Bolton John case, I'm talking about the case where many people may or may not know what that is. That's the case where the police officer allegedly went into a citizen's home. She thought it was her own apartment, and she shot him and killed him. So the Texas Rangers came in. Dallas police invited the Texas Rangers in to head up that investigation. That particular shooting took place on September the 6th. And of course, a lot of people are up in arms. The case was turned over to us by Texas Rangers on September the 9th. A lot of people have misinformation, misunderstood things, all kind of gibbery or whatever is going on out there. A lot of folks thought that people got upset on the search warrant that returned that was released. They thought the DA's office released it. We had nothing to do with that. It was not even our search warrant. Some people were thinking that the DA could fire the police officer. Well, you know, when can I go to another agency and fire somebody? So, and I don't know if people really misunderstood or they just wanted to spread misinformation. I have no idea what it was. So we've been going around to pastors and groups to try to clear the record and let folks understand what the process is. And the only reason why we're doing this is because I'm so concerned about what may happen once the grand jury hears this case. See, the grand jury is going to do one or two things. It's going to either be a no bill, or it's going to be a true bill. And if it's a true bill, it could be a true bill for murder or manslaughter or criminal negligent homicide. So the grand jury is going to make that decision. And somebody's going to be unhappy. Some people are going to be happy. That wasn't a really misstatement. But some people are going to be happy and some people are going to be unhappy. And I'm just concerned about exactly what Lisette said, the division in this town and what that could lead to. So I'm trying to get pastors and leaders to try to get the word out about what is the correct process. We brought some of our brochures here so you all would know it, but I also wanted to discuss it with you all briefly and answer any questions that you all may have. So when we talk about a criminal process, a crime occurs. Once a crime occurs, then a police officer goes to the scene, start investigating. The police officer, if he thinks a crime has been committed, he will, if the person is there, he can either arrest a person or issue an arrest warrant. And he also decides what offense took place, if any. He makes that decision right there on the scene. The police officer that's in that particular city or that territory. We have 26 cities, 42 agencies that literally file complaints with the DA's office. So when an officer goes out there, investigate, see what happened, decide if there ought to be an arrest, or it at least should be an issuance of an arrest warrant, that's what that officer is going to do. Within 48 hours, if the person is arrested or if the person has an arrest warrant, then that person goes to a magistrate where they're magistrated, meaning told their rights and read their rights and what can happen and what can't happen. And a bond is set. Once that happens, the arresting agency then files the case with my office. That's the first time the case literally becomes mine, when the agency has filed it with my office. So when you look at this Geiger case, the Texas Rangers literally filed the case on about September the 10th. So whatever happened before then, them deciding on whether it would be manslaughter versus murder, whether they decided that she could turn herself into Kaufman County or not, whatever they decided, we got it on September the 10th roughly. And although the DA's office can have some input to the extent is advising police officer, well, what we think it is, most time we don't even get there with the police. They already decided and just file it. However, in this case, I did have a conversation with the Texas Rangers, just like I had a conversation in the Oliver case with the Sheriff Department, but they decide what they're going to do. So now we have this case. We're continuing our investigation of this case. In fact, we have a special public integrity unit, and that unit is designed to go out and investigate all police shootings. That's what, and it's an independent investigation, is what we do. So with that independent investigation, the police department might be doing their investigation, and then we're doing our investigation. And believe it or not, this investigation is still going on in the Amber Geiger case. And the Texas Ranger they've not completed their investigation. We have not completed our investigation, and we hopefully will very soon take the case before the grand jury. We want to make certain the grand jury has everything. A lot of people want us to do this quick. They say, no, we want you to do it right now, right now. That was my question. My question was, do you want it quick or do you want it thorough? And we are trying to make certain that we present all of the evidence in the law, because we are going to explain the law to the grand jury. We're going to let them know what murder is. We're going to let them know what manslaughter is. And we're going to give them every piece of evidence that we have gathered so that they can make the right decision in the case. So always know that the grand jury is a secret proceeding, meaning that once we present everything, we have to leave out. And then the grand jury is there all by themselves, going over the evidence, going over the law, and they are going to have to reach a decision whether or not to indict or not indict. It's a little different than a regular jury. In a regular criminal jury, 12 people have to agree for there to be a conviction. In a grand jury, only 9 people have to agree for there to be an indictment. So if 8 people decide that it's not going to be an indictment, meaning that they don't believe the evidence for an indictment, then it's going to be a no bill and it ends. So what I'm saying...
And they can't be retried again.
Well, you can always represent something to the grand jury, but normally we won't do that because we think it's unjust to keep trying to get an indictment and keep taking something to the grand jury just for the sake of what we call it form shopping. So we don't do that unless there's new information. If there's new information to be taken to the grand jury after we've already taken something to the grand jury, then yes, we will take it to the grand jury a second time.
How often is it that occurs? That you have to bring something back to the grand jury?
That doesn't happen very often, especially in police shooting cases, because we do such a thorough job. That's why the likelihood of this case being heard a second time is going to be unlikely. Okay. Because that's why we're taking all the time right now to gather everything.
So you're gathering all the information,
all the evidence
from the Texas Rangers, plus you'll
doing
follow
our own independent investigation.
And you do your own independent investigation to make sure that all the facts of it
gets to the grand jury.
Whether these people knew each other or didn't know each other, because that's a question that comes around. But you said the door was open or something like that.
Well, a lot of people that's what a lot of people...
That's where the rumors are going.
Yeah, people got all kind of rumors and all kind of what they think, surmising what may or may not have happened. Some people already found the lady guilty. Some people found her not guilty. They've already tried her and prosecuted and hung her and everything else. So you got different people have done different things. And unfortunately, what we say to people, although people have an absolute right to protest, that's our First Amendment
constitutional
right. Constitutional right to do that. But if you all remember, we just tried the Roy Oliver case. It took us a while to get a fair jury. We were fighting tooth and nail to keep the case in Dallas County, because we just believe that when you're talking about police shooting, these cases happen anywhere else. Tried anywhere else. We just don't think in Texas maybe Austin might convict a police officer, even when they have the evidence there. We just don't think it's gonna happen in Collin County and Rockwall and all these. It's just not gonna happen.
Faith, one of the biggest criticisms I see you're facing right now is that on all these high-profile cases, everybody is clamoring. I saw you meeting with Angela Lucky, the outspoken leader of the Grand Prairie NAACP, and I applaud you for meeting with people that have been maligning you socially in the media.
Has she changed her social tone yet? Is Angela Lucky?
Yeah, she has.
Yeah, what is she saying now?
She ain't saying nothing right now. She's saying wait. Okay. That's what she should have did in the first place.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I'm saying is that can you explain to us as a group what you've explained to me, that everybody's clamoring for you to release the video, release this. Can you explain why you can't do that?
Well, I say to people, and really, people want you to release stuff. That's just because they just plain nosy.
Yep.
People just nosy. Everybody want to know. And why? Why do you want to know? Don't we have enough to do in life rather than meddling in somebody else's business? But I'm just throwing that out there. But the reason why I don't release the video is because if everybody in this county saw the video, that means that everybody would have made their decision in terms of what happened. So if everybody in this county already made their decision, we'll never be able to find a fair jury that's going to hear the case. So that in and of itself almost guaranteed this case being transferred to another county. What we call a change of venue. That's what a change of venue is. That venue right now is Dallas County, but it has to move to another county to get a fair trial, for the defendant to get a fair trial. And you better believe the defense is waiting to file a change of venue in this Amber Geiger case if we get there. They're waiting for that opportunity. Sure. We have had more publicity on this Amber Geiger case than any case that probably more than the JFK case.
What about the Carlos Hyde case? They say, they're clamoring for you to release the video. They say the police officer shot 100 times, hitting 30, which I've talked to the Grand Prairie Police, and all that is not true.
Right.
And the Grand Prairie Police has told me that if the video is released, it will calm down all these false rumors.
Yeah. And at some point, depending on what happens in the grand jury, we very well may release it. See, when there's a no bill, we have no problem releasing the video because it's over.